We're now going to cover Lesson 12, page layouts. You may have restored the minimum transcript format standards page layout, and if you have, please don't make any changes to that layout. For purposes of this lesson, if you'd like to open up a different page layout and follow along, that's fine, but please don't make any changes to the minimum transcript format standards page layout. So we can have multiple page layouts, and all of your page layouts should be kept in your system files case, in your layouts case, or if you have created different users because you work for different court reporting agencies, you may also have your layout in that particular user, and that's fine. And when I'm talking about different layouts, really the only difference that you may have would be you could have more lines per page, or perhaps a specific header or footer on that layout. All of the other specifications should remain the same. So our page layouts are not templates, but they are an actual layout that you use when you start a real-time translation, or if you are creating a text file without using your Steno machine. You can modify a layout while you're editing. So for instance, if perhaps you wanted to put a footer in your page layout as you're editing, it's very easy to do. With our include files, which we will get to in another lesson, our include files are not subject to the minimum transcript format standards page layout. So your include files can be dictated by your agency, by your court reporting agency. Your page layout, if it is not compliant with the Code of Regulations, also known as the minimum transcript format standards, the licensee is subject to disciplinary action. All right, so again, if you want to open a different page layout and follow along, that's fine, but please don't make changes to the layout that you have that is in compliance with the minimum transcript format standards layout. So how do we get to a page layout? Very easy. Our page layouts are contained in our system files case, so we can get to the layout case a couple different ways. On our button bar, there is a layout button. We can easily click that button. Our open existing document dialog box appears, and we can select the particular layout that we'd like to look at. Click on open. I'm going to cancel that. Or we can go to our system files case. Our layouts case is contained within our system files case. We can click on our layouts case, and we can select the page layout that we want to look at. All right. So I have opened up the school minimum standards, minimum transcript format standards layout. And so we're going to go over the specifications of the layout. So if we wanted to modify the page layout, there are 3 menus with options in the page layout function. And they're accessed by clicking on the arrows at the top of the first menu. So we have paragraph setup, and if I click the right arrow, we have page setup, and if I click the right arrow again, we have headers and footers. Okay, so if we go back to our paragraph setup here, if you want to just take a look at the transcript when I make any changes here in our specifications. So if my cursor is on line 1 here, and if I look over here under the paragraph style, I see that this particular line 1 is a default paragraph style. So my paragraph body of this particular layout is dictated by the specifications that are in the boxes here at first line indent, left margin, right margin, continuation. I can have double spaced transcript. I can have left aligned transcript. Okay, so any changes that I make here will be reflected in the transcript. So if I changed my first line indent to 2.60 and I clicked on apply, you could see how my transcript shifted. Okay, so this is how you make adjustments in your page layout. I'm going to go ahead and put that back at 2.38 and click apply, and you'll see that it moves back. If I put my cursor now at line 7 and I look over here under paragraph style, you see that the paragraph style just changed to question paragraph style, which is right because line 7 indicates a question. If I move down to line 10 and I looked at paragraph style, now my paragraph style is an answer paragraph style. And again, if I made changes in my paragraph body, if I changed any of these values, I'll make that 2.60 and I'll click apply. See how my text after the cue shifted. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put that back to 2.38. Every time you make a change, you have to come down and click apply for that change to take effect. And if you make changes and you want to save your changes before you exit the page layout, you have to save your changes. Okay, let's keep scrolling down. We're still under paragraph setup here. So if I go to line 16 and I click on line 16, I am still in my answer paragraph style, and I can see that by looking over here on the right-hand side at paragraph style. Now, if I move down to line 19, I've just changed to colloquy paragraph style. Now, what if I wanted to move colloquy over to line up with the Q and the A? I can do that. I'm not really sure what the specification should be, so let's just kind of wing it. What if I did 1.75? Let's see what that does. Oh, brings it over too much. See, it's not lining up. Okay, what if I did 2.0? Not quite. Still isn't lining up. What would be the easier way to figure it out? If I went back to line 10, which is my answer paragraph style, and I looked at the first line indent, no, because that's the indent here. Oh, it's the left margin, right? I think. Let's try that, 1.45. So let's go back to colloquy paragraph style, change the first line indent to 1.45, clicked apply. Oh no, that's too much. That is not right. So what is it? What could it be? What is it? Let's go back to answer paragraph style. So my first line indent, and here is my continuation. Oh, but look, there's more. As we scroll down the page, we see another header called paragraph symbol. I see my A symbol is at 1.86. Ah, mystery solved. Let's go back, take an easy shortcut, click on line 19, changes my paragraph style to colloquy. All right, so what if I did my first line indent to 1.86? And I clicked apply. Ah, now it's lined up. Okay, so it's easy if you want to change your colloquy, your Q, your A, but just know that you've got to be in compliance with the minimum transcript format standards. All right, so continuing on. Direct examination or centered paragraph. If I look on the right-hand side, we have a centered paragraph style. Line 25 here, here's my byline. Okay, here are the specifications for the byline. Okay, let's go back. Excuse me. What if in my Q or my A, I wanted a period after the Q or the A? I go down to paragraph symbol. Where my symbol is typed, I just put a period after the Q. I always leave ending punctuation a question mark. That's how our page layout knows that when we have a question format symbol, we have an automatic question mark. So when we're writing on our machines, we don't have to put that question mark in. If we wanted to change our ending punctuation to a period, we would have to stroke the period. Okay, so I want a period after that Q. I'm going to hit apply, and now I see a period. I want to do the same thing for my A. What do I need to do? Come up to paragraph style, scroll down to answer paragraph style. Under paragraph symbol, go over to the A, put a period, and click apply. Now I have a period after the A. Some agencies, just for continuity of their clients' transcripts, may say, hey, you know what, we don't use periods after the Q or after the A. Or maybe I'd like you to put a period after the Q and after the A. And now you know how to do it. Just be very careful. If an agency wants you to extremely change your page layout, you have to know what the code says, right? You have to be aware of the code so that you make sure you are responsible for your page layout. All right, so now let's move on to our page setup. So under layout, use the arrow and move to setup. So this is where our line numbers position are dictated. We also have the frequency of line numbers, the formatting of our line numbers, and how many line numbers are in a transcript. So let me just show you how things change when I select for frequency every fifth line. And I click apply. Every fifth line has a line number. Never, never, never. We never do that. Let's make it back to every line. How about formatting? Instead of 1, 2, 3, what if we wanted the alphabet? Let's look at that. Oh, kind of crazy, right? Okay, let's change that back to 1, 2, 3. How about how many lines are in a transcript? You may be asked to change this if you're working in court. You may be required to change to 26 lines, 28 lines per page. It depends on the particular court. So if I want to change to 28 lines per page, I click apply, and let's look at the page. Now I've got 28. We like 25 though, right? Why? More money, more pages, right? Absolutely. All right. Paper size and margins. It's letter size. Okay, the margin, the top margin. All right, so normally a top margin is about 1 inch. The bottom margin, and this looks really odd because we count from the top of the page. So the bottom margin is 10 inches from the top of the page. And that's why it says 10. We usually use characters per inch. It makes our characters line up under one another. Okay, so we usually have this checked. Okay, how about time stamping? Okay, so time stamping can either be on the left side of the page or the right side of the page. Keeping in mind that when a transcript is bound, it is bound on the left side of the page. So if a transcript requires timestamps, you really don't want to cover up the entire timestamp. Okay, under frequency here, so the position would depend on whether you want it on the left side of the page or the right side of the page. The frequency here, I have a selection with the drop-down arrow of timestamps on every line, every 5th, every 10th, or the first line only of each page. Let's look at every line and click apply. All right, so I just got done saying, remember, that we bind transcripts on the left-hand side of the page. So your agency may say, hey, we want your timestamps on your transcript moved to the right side of the page. And this is where we would go into the position, and we would adjust the position. So let's see what would happen if we chose 7.5. Let's just see what would happen. Okay, move to the right side, but not enough. And maybe our box is too large so that all of it won't fit on the right side. Let's just try. It will. Let's just go 7.9. Okay, so how's that? So now our timestamps are located on the right-hand side of the page, which is probably better. So the minimum transcript format standards dictates when timestamping can be put on a transcript. What happens, though, if at the end of a deposition, you realize that you had forgotten to write the start and stop time of the deposition because you need those times to plug into your transcript? So maybe you'll go into your page layout, that particular transcript. You can throw timestamps on to take a look at the time and then take the timestamps back off. Okay, you just don't want to leave the timestamps on. All right, so next, let's take a look at the box itself. So here are the specifications regarding the box that surrounds the transcript. The box style, which would be 1 line, 2 lines, or no lines at all. Okay, so that just took the line off of the left side of the box. I'll put it back on. The position of the line and the thickness of the line. So just so you can see how it works, watch this left line here. I'm going to take a look at the thickness here, and I'm going to make it really thick, and I'm going to make it 2 lines. Whoa, it's kind of crazy. Let's go back to 1 line. Too much. And let's go back to the default setting. Okay, so you can adjust the entire box by the specifications right here. Next, let's look at headers and footers. So under Layout, click the next arrow. All right, so page number is our first option. And I can see in our text field here, it says page number 1, 2, 3. What if I wanted the page number to be in Roman numerals instead? Let's click on this insert field here. Our insert field dialog box appears. Let's see what our options are. By scrolling down, I can see I've got page numbers. I've got Roman numerals. I'm going to select that and click OK and apply. And let's look at our sample transcript. Oh, we've got Roman numeral and the regular page number. Uh-oh, what do I do? I can go back into this text field. I can highlight both of them, delete both of them, go back to the insert field. Let's just select the one, Roman numerals, click on OK, apply, and I've got Roman numerals. What if I want to go back to regular digits, regular plain old 1, 2, 3, 4? Highlight it, delete it, insert field, page number, click on OK, apply, and it's changed. All right, so what if you require page numbers at the top of your transcript instead of the bottom? Our, excuse me, our positioning, our horizontal position says right margin. Okay, so I like it at the right margin, that's fine. Our vertical position is what we're concerned with. When we are measuring the page, we're measuring from the top of the page down. So our vertical position as it is 10.25. It's inches from the top of the page. What if I wanted it at the top of the page? Let's go ahead and highlight those specs, and let's start with maybe a 1/2 inch, 0.50, and click Apply. Let's scroll to the top. All right, so our page number's at the top now. All right, so that was pretty cool. What if we want our page number at the top of the box? I'll click top of the box and let's see what happens. Apply. Okay, it stayed on the right. What about centered on margin? Click on apply. Okay. And if I wanted to put it back where it was, right margin, exactly, and apply. All right, how about headers? How do I make a header? Go over to page number, scroll down to header 1. I apologize that I have to keep stopping. Okay, header number 1. So you'll see that although our title is headers and footers, when we scroll down, when we use the drop-down arrow, we're only given the option of headers. Okay, they are headers and footers, even though they just say headers. So let's say that you wanted to add a header, maybe your name. Okay, so choose header number 1, and let's just say, I'm just going to write Sally Doe. All right, where do I want that header? What if I want it at the left margin? For my horizontal position, I check left margin. All right, so where do I want it? What happens if I selected maybe point 10? Let's just say point 10. And I clicked apply. Okay, so now I have a header, my name. What if I want the date because I am taking a test? I want a different header, so I'm going to have to go back up to headers, select header number 2. And let's just put March 10. All right. Since I selected point 10 for my name, I need to move my date down a little bit. So what if I selected point 15? Clicked on apply. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, I forgot to do something with horizontal. Let's click on left margin. Uh-oh, it's right on top of my name. I need to move it down a little more. How about point 20? Whoop, not far enough. Point 25. A little better. How about point 28? Much better. One thing I did want to point out with the student software, you have the embedded headers and footers, and you cannot do anything with them. You just have to work around them. You cannot delete them. All right, so what if I wanted to add one more header? Maybe I'm taking a test and I want test 3. Okay, so I know, what did I select? 0.28 for my date. Okay, go to horizontal again, select left margin. I'm going to have to make this a little bit more. So what about 0.32? Whoops, not enough. 0.35? Not enough yet. My vertical position, how about 0.40? Still not enough. Okay, how about 0.45? Looks a little bit better, but why don't we try 0.48 just to be on the safe side? That looks better. All right, well, what if I didn't want my headers on the left, but I wanted them on the right? What do I do? Well, I can take my test 3 here, my horizontal position. What if I just chose right margin? I left the specifications exactly what they are, and I clicked apply. Well, test went over okay, but now my page number is in the way. Well, you know what? Let's go to header number 2, and let's just do the same thing. Horizontal position, right margin, click apply. Let's go to header number 1, do the same thing. Right margin, apply. Okay, so everything's good except for my page number. So let's work on the page number. What can I do with it? Well, let's see. Use the drop-down arrow, go to page number. What if I move my page number down just a little bit more? Instead of 0.50, what if I said 0.60? Well, not really, right? Not really liking that. Well, what if I said centered on if I said centered on the margins, that wouldn't be good. Let's take a look at that. Nope, it's in the middle of the page. All right. Let's leave it at right margin for a moment. All right, so it's right there. So what if I moved up, and every time you do this, it seems as though you have to just kind of mess with the numbers. Okay, so why don't we start with our header 1. Let's say I selected 0.08 instead of 0.01 to move it up a smidge. Okay, so that's moved up a little bit. Now what about header 2? Let's move that up a little bit. How about 0.18? Uh-oh, too much. 0.20? Nope, not enough. 0.25? Better. All right, and how about header number 3? Why don't we try 0.30 first? Uh-oh, not enough. 0.35? Not enough. How about 0.38? Better. Not quite perfect, but better. Okay, so what if I wanted to have my page number back down at the bottom? Do you remember how to do that? Go back to the drop-down, select page number. I wanted to keep it at the right margin. I have to count from the top of the page. So why don't we go 10, click apply, and let's take a look. Oh, not enough. It's inside the box. What do we did? 10.5. Okay, so once you get the look that you desire, you just write down your specifications. Okay, write down your specifications, and then you'll never have to change them. Okay. Of course, it's easier if you want to keep on the left-hand side your name, date, and test number, and then the right-hand side your page number. And I'll show you in the next lesson how to change your date and your test number for each subsequent test or transcript. You need a different header on. Okay, remember, this is your page layout, your original page layout. So you probably don't want to keep this information in your original layout, or you can for now, but when you start working as a court reporter, you're going to take out all of these headers because you wouldn't turn in a transcript with your name, a date, and a test number, right? And the way you take out a header, just like we put in the header, come to headers and footers, go to the first header, header number 1, highlight it, delete it, apply the change. Header number 2, highlight it, delete it, apply the change. Header number 3, highlight it, delete it, apply the change, and save your page layout. Okay. So the most important thing with your page layout, and I know that I'm stressing it over and over and over again, but you've got to be compliant with the minimum transcript format standards, the Code of Regulations. Okay? So that's it for lesson 12, other than save your changes. All right, thank you.